welcome everyone who's signed up. And for those of you who are listening to the recording, welcome, welcome to our time together. How to bounce back when you want to give up, a roadmap for resilience. And I am so thrilled that you are here with us. I want to thank you for spending the time, really taking your precious time to spend it with us. And I promise you, we're going to give you some wonderful tools that you can use to deal with resilience so that you don't give up anytime that you might want to. So I would love to introduce myself, and then Jeremy, introduce yourself, and then we can then we'll have people introduce themselves in the chat.
Great.
So my name is Maria Nemeth, and I am the director of the Academy for Coaching Excellence. I'm so thrilled to be the director because we have a lot of fun together and we do some very good work together. So you'll be hearing a little bit more about me as we go on in this time, but it's just such a pleasure for me to be here. And Jeremy, you might just want to say hi to people.
Hi, people. Good to see a lot of familiar faces on this training, and welcome to the folks who this might be one of your first times interacting with us. I'm a course leader and the director of enrollment with the Academy. I've been working with this organization for about 5 or 6 years now, and I love this training. We've been prepping this. This is our second time running it. We offered it last week, and we got some great feedback and tweaked it even more to make it even more valuable for each of you. So glad you all joined us.
Yes, thank you so much. And what we'd like to do to get things going is to have you introduce yourself in the chat space. It's one of the reasons is because, first of all, we would love to see who you are, where you're calling from, and just a little bit about what brings you here. And it'll help us know that you can use this chat space, because from time to time, we'll ask you to write something if you'd like. So please, your name, where you are, what brings you here. And Xander, Ajax. So is this Xander Townend Ajax? Is that another person as well?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. And I see you're from Ontario, Canada. So welcome, welcome. Who else? Just write your name here. Oh, great. Erica. Hi, y'all. This is Erica Mooney from Ypsilanti alumni.
Hi, Erica.
Oh, so great.
Yeah, and if you're an alumni, just share that in the chat too, just so we know
Absolutely.
who's taken our first course and done some more.
And here's Kristen from Napa, and Michelle from Eugene, Oregon. I'm here because it sounds like a great topic, and I get a lot out of it, TCI. So read some of the other ones for us, Jeremy.
Yep. Amy Z says, I'm a strategic wealth coach, helping families make decisions with their wealth, financial, as well as human, spiritual, and family-owned businesses.
And here's Kristen.
Yep. Kristen says, I'm interested in getting to know the Academy and your work, and was introduced to Maria by Jim. I imagine that's Jim Geiger, her buddy.
It's good. And then, of course, Josh. He says, hi, everybody. My name is Josh Van Vliet. I'm in Oakland, and I'm on the team with the Academy for Coaching Excellence, helping to run the tech and logistics for the training today. Sharmista, and I'm calling from Calcutta. I'm a life coach and love to support change makers. Wonderful. Wish I could have met you when I went to Bangalore to do some coach training many years ago. John Moon. Currently, great, NYC. So Suzanne Dudley Shun, I've enjoyed classes before with Maria and enjoyed them very much. Great. And David.
David's here. Patrick and I just spent and Sarah, all three of us spent 10 days together recently at a retreat with one of our a great spiritual teacher named Joanna Macy.
Beautiful woman.
Great to have you both here.
Miriam Hyman. Oh, great. Miriam in Venice, California. Sunshine and joy from Toronto, Canada. Anything that Maria does, we want to be a part of because it is the best. Thank you. You just got an A plus.
There you
All
go.
right. For those of you who want grades, we will give grades for compliments. So if you
There you
want a
go.
grade, just compliment us and we're good.
Mm.
La Phoenix, Warner McDonald from Eugene, Oregon. I'm about to begin college in the fall, discovering what I'd like to do, finding my purpose, and gathering skills to help me in the future. Wonderful. Sarah Thompson in the Great Lakes watershed south of South Chicago, traditional Potawatomi land. Yes. And I was actually born in Chicago, so it's wonderful. Amy Z, alumni, Mastering Life's Energies. And Xander says, in answer to what brings you here, I help people to develop their emotional mastery skills. Thank you for being here. And Sharmishta would have loved to meet you too. Absolutely. Diane, I'm an alumni. Diane Silva in Folsom. Anything Maria does is the best. Love the title of this, and it really drew me in. After 16 years of working with Maria, I still learn and evolve in her presence. Here's another A plus. Okay,
There you go.
Why don't you be the next one?
Yeah, Janice Carey from Florida, the Unity minister at Unity of Fort Peace in Florida, Fort Pierce, and used so many of these tools with her congregation, and another person who's appreciated learning from the academy.
Oh, I love it.
Kimberly from Santa Fe is a resilience coach, which
Mm.
I mean, very topical.
Yes. Oh, great. I also train coaches for Newfield Network and am excited to be here tonight. And we're excited to having you, Kimberly. And Suzanne Owen, yes, here in New Hampshire. Jim from Chapel Hill, proud father of Daniel, among other things. And Kristen, I heard about the course from a cohort in my leadership program. I work for local government in poverty alleviation, developing partnerships and identifying resources. A friend shared the course info with me and I found it very interesting. So here I am. Oh, Lori Weber, Lincoln, Nebraska, certified ACE coach. Great. Suzanne, always interested in learning more. Yeah, it has been 18 years, Diane Silva. Joseph Ranseth, apologize for the delay, just finished my own webinar. Well, thank you for coming here, given that.
Yeah.
And Penelope Gardner, Raleigh, North Carolina, here to learn lots of personal experience with burnout. Tell me, the more I know to help others avoid it, the better. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming here, for signing up for this. And we are going to have a great time together. So moving on. And just very quickly, we're a training academy, and our mission is to build a global community of people who are living lives they are meant to live and creating a thriving world for all. And we've been doing this for quite a while. And I want you to know that in my 35 years of training coaches, this has been, what you see here is actually what has been my calling for the 35 years I've worked with coaches. And the purpose of our training, is for you to learn a simple and tangible way to practice resilience so you can do the work you're passionate about while actually enjoying your life. And I remember one person saying to me, "What do you mean enjoy? What does that word mean? Explain it to me." Because so many of us are used to working so hard and putting so much of our soul into what it is we're doing that the E word, that is to say enjoyment, gets short shrift. We just don't do it. So would it be okay with you folks if life got easier? Would it be okay, especially those of us who are really involved with the purpose of bringing ease onto this planet, into this world? Would it be okay if we enjoyed some of that ease ourselves? Anything you want to say about that, Jeremy, before we go on?
Yeah, well, I love the word practice in here. I was rereading what we prepared for this, and thinking, it really is a practice of resilience, not like some magical state one arrives at. And so I'm excited for us to unpack our particular approach to that practice.
Yes, and as you hear us talking, would you please ask us any questions, anything you want to put in the chat space, because we want to make sure that what we're doing fits exactly with what you want, okay? So moving on to the overview of what we're going to be doing. First, we're going to be talking about what resilience is. It means so many things to so many different people, so we have a definition and we will bring it forward and work with that. Then we will talk about something called the rules of engagement for turning your vision into reality, your vision into physical reality. Then we're going to give you simple, practical strategies for taking consistent action. And then, if you wish, there'll be an invitation for you to take your learning further. But really, what we ask you to do is to give yourself this time. If you're like many of us, you're busy, you've had a busy day, you've done many different things. And just for the logistics of our time together, turn on your video if it's possible. Share your thoughts, questions in the chat. You can unmute by pressing the unmute button at the lower left, or by phone, just dialing the number 6. And after filling out a short feedback form, you're going to get all the workshop materials. We want to actually give them to you, and you'll have access to a group coaching call.
Yeah, so just keep in mind that we're going to have time for Q&A throughout this, and it is going to be a workshop, not just a presentation. So two-way conversation. That's why we have you all on Zoom and on video. So there'll be times where we ask you to unmute or share if you're willing to, or you can just share in the chat if you prefer. So keep that in mind, and know that we'll have this group coaching call that we'll send you a feedback form. And if you fill that out within 4 hours of this call, that gets you access to all the materials as well as the coaching call, which is coming up in a few days. Yeah. So just keep that in mind throughout.
All right. So let us begin. And where we're going to begin is by looking at 3 basic choices that we all have when we're doing work that has real heart and meaning for us. And so see whether or not this is true for you. You know, when we've gone all the way, when we're stressed out, we have a choice to burn out. And, you know, I'd say raise your hand if you've experienced burnout in your life. You know, yeah, I see some people raising their hands right now. Overwhelmed, overworked, overstressed. So to burn out, to tune out, meaning just leaving the whole field, just pulling yourself back. Or given work that you love, given work that you want to contribute to the world, you can learn to be resilient. So please, Jeremy.
Yeah. Well, I have a little story about this and how this was in my own life. It was kind of a progression for me from tuning out. Was at one stage in my life, I was just more focused on myself and not really worrying about anything else around me, or going for the things that I cared about with that much gusto. And then once I had kind of a particular wake-up moment in life and dedicated myself to a lot of causes, I was doing a lot of activism and community organizing, I kind of moved into the burnout phase. And the thing that I noticed for myself in this is that when I was going and exhausted, I have a way of going about my work where if you would ask me, Jeremy, how's it going? I would have said, oh, it's going great. Like, it's going fine. Like, it's not that bad. Because when I was in that go exhaustion mode that was leading towards burnout, I didn't have any conception that there was another way. Like number 3, be resilient, wasn't in my mind that there was some other way that I could be doing things. Which is why I think though this slide is really simple, it's actually pretty important, because we can place ourselves and see like, oh, there might actually be a third way. that's more lasting, that keeps us in the game longer. And for me, when I came across this coaching model and this body of work, that was it for me. It was like, oh, I had no idea how much I was struggling, and I didn't even really know until I saw the other side.
Yes, and I'm seeing Sunshine and Joy. She says, I am the tune out. I was told I would make a good carpenter, as I can make a bolt for the door really quickly.
Oh, Sunshine.
Oh, really. So, resilience. We're going to be looking at what resilience means. And just like Jeremy, one of the reasons I have studied this is because I can go until I'm exhausted, and then I just crash and don't want to do anything for a while. And I saw that obviously was not the way to consistently be successful and to make the contribution that I wanted to make in life. So I began to study what resilience is all about. And so this is the definition we're going to give you, and see if this maps on to your experience. Resilience is continually returning to your center and acting upon what really matters to you, no matter what the circumstance is, and with little or no loss of momentum. So I'll say that again. Continually returning to your center and acting upon what really matters to you, no matter the circumstance, with little or no loss of momentum. So just to reflect for a moment, to take this all in, ask yourself this question: what would it be like for me to continually return to my center with ease, no matter the circumstance, meaning no matter what was happening to me, so I could continue forward with little or no loss of momentum, and I would say with maximum sanity? What would it be like? And please put something in the chat space. This is part of the we want to hear from you part. Jonathan said, "This is great. What do you mean by my center?" Well, that is a great question. Actually, this a lot of what we're doing today is about returning to your center. But bottom line, returning to what's important to you, returning to who you really are versus who you are afraid that you are, returning to a sense that all is well, that you're doing precisely what you're meant to be doing right here and right now. So that's bottom line what we mean by returning to your center. And Kristen says empowering. Suzanne, sustainable. Sunshine, a life worth living. Patrick, do you mean what it would look like or what it would feel like? Either way. And La Phoenix sounds amazing, better than it is now. Oh, I'm thrilled that you're here. Amy Z, it's hard to find center with this isn't it. And for those of you who I want to say this isn't it, is we work with people sometimes to find the basic belief that keeps them stuck, not moving forward. And so that's why she was saying this isn't it. Let's see, Sharmista, I do practice this already and wish to learn more from your way. Thank you very much. Sunshine Joy says peaceful and fun. Kimberly, love the definition. It feels generative. Yeah, it does. Michelle, it would make things easier. Mallory, it sounds challenging because what I'd like in the moment is to keep going without ever having to rest. So I get frustrated with all the rest of my body and mind actually needs and winds up demanding. So I hear you. David, it would be pretty remarkable to return to center without stopping. I'm able to find center, but not while still engaged consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Janice says, this is truly the inner work. I know I must practice each day before I encounter the turbulence. And Mallory says, I'm with you, David. Xander, engaging with our center is the challenge to do consistently. Everything else is distraction. Wow. Absolutely. Yes, that gives me pause. Yeah, because everything else is distraction, Xander. You're absolutely correct. So,
and Mallory, I I appreciate the way you put that. That idea of being frustrated with how much rest your body and mind needs, because kind of just telling it like it is. You know, it lives that way for us sometimes. So excited for us all to look at this together.
yes, I remember my doctor telling me at one point, as I was recovering from treatment for breast cancer. This was about 9 years ago. And she said, Maria, you've got to give this carbon-based life form some rest. She says, your spirit sometimes is too much for this carbon-based life form. And when she said it in that way, I really saw what she was talking about. That part of my journey is to learn to live peacefully with what she called this carbon-based life form called my body. Actually, to make friends with my body. So for me, that's been a lot on my own road to resilience.
And I see someone on whose name is set as iPhone has their hand up. We're going to have some more chances to take folks off mute and share just a little bit. And right now, I think we're going to go on to the heart of the rules of engagement.
Let's get the heart. And Diane saying, it's why I'm here. And what draws Craig into, we have hopes and dreams and we begin to accomplish them, but continually get hooked by life circumstances. We find we take 5 steps forward and 4.95 steps back. Oh, it probably just seems that way, Diane. And I think we're going to talk about things in a way that might allay that sense, maybe help you with that sense. So what we're going to be doing is talking about something we call the playing field. And for those of you who've worked with us in the past, I suggest that you see this as though you hadn't seen it before. Bring a sense of beginner's mind to this, because every time that I talk about this, and I think it's the same for Jeremy, I see something new for myself. So let's consider the possibility that we're all here to play on something called the playing field of life. And in this field, you can imagine that there is a horizontal line that divides 2 aspects of this playing field that we've come here to play in. First is visionary reality. Now, visionary reality is very, it's the home of our ideas, our dreams, our vision, our desires. And then there's physical reality. And, the 2 things are different. The energy is different in each one of these segments. One of the problems is that sometimes we forget that we're here to play in both sides of the line. Visionary reality being the home of our ideas, our dreams, our vision, what gives us life. The energy is really high. I remember a friend saying to me, Maria, sometimes I have so much fun with my visions. It's almost like I've taken action with them, except when I get very frustrated because I haven't done anything at all. So then we have the playing field, and this here, everything you want to do takes energy. And by that I mean there are 6 kinds of energy. We're not going to go into all of them tonight at all, but very quickly, there's money, time, physical vitality, creativity, enjoyment, and relationship. Everything that the field is always changing in physical reality, and things are unpredictable. So the name of the game is to take that which is in visionary reality, right, and put it into physical reality. And you see Josh has given you the 6 forms of energy, so you can read it in the chat space, please. So I have an idea, a dream, or a vision, and I want to do something with it. Like the book I have an idea for, I actually want to write it. Or the coaching practice I want to begin. Or the bakery I might want to open up. Or you name it, you know, you have the vision, but then you've got to do something. You grant that, yes? Unpredictable in particular, but in general, I respectfully want to disagree. Okay, please give me your disagreement. You know, the thing to look at is that things taking energy, things always changing, and things being unpredictable are the 3 aspects of a game. I mean, look at poker, look at tennis, look at golf, look at whatever game you want to play. And these are the 3 factors that keep the game interesting. So there are patterns in every game. And as you probably know, patterns keep shifting depending upon what is done next. So here we want to go from visionary reality into physical reality. And the minute we do, we start taking steps towards physical reality. We hit something we call trouble at the border. Now, trouble at the border occurs because of the difference in energy signature between visionary reality and physical reality. In other words, first of all, it takes about 10 times more energy to do anything than you thought it would when you're at the trouble at the border phase. Think of it like a rocket ship blasting off from a launch pad, and you know that a rocket ship takes about 10. It uses up about 90% of its energy in the first 3.5 minutes of liftoff, because it's pushing against the inertia made up of these things that we're talking about. And at the same time, if that weren't enough, being at trouble at the border kind of shocks our brain, and we begin to hear these negative internal comments. You know, like, don't do this. It wasn't supposed to look this way. You know, I've written 3 books, and I'm writing my 4th one right now on forgiveness. And I tell you, I thought that after writing 3 books, I would never get into this trouble at the border phase with writing a book. But it's the same every time. And you begin to hear these messages from your brain saying, turn back, don't do it.
You should just wait a little longer. Maybe you're not ready to write this yet.
Really, absolutely. And we call it, it's a Buddhist phrase, and we use it, we call it monkey mind. Now, monkey mind is that aspect of the mind that is always chattering at us as it swings from doubt to worry and back to doubt again. And, you know, the thing to know about it is that it's normal and natural to have monkey mind. Neuroscience refers to it as the negativity bias. And the whole thing about negativity bias is this. They're discovering that our brain is about 100,000 years old. That is to say, the brain has not changed perceptibly in 100,000 years. And 100,000 years ago, if all of us, get this picture here, if all of us were hungry and we decided we wanted to leave the cave together to go out for some dinner, are you with me? Now, I want you to get the visual here. So we're leaving the cave to go and get dinner. Now, what's the first thing that your brain starts to look for? Write it down in the chat space. You've left the cave. We're going to look for strawberries.
Strawberries.
Oh, Sarah, I love you. No, danger, danger. What's different? What's wrong? Threats. You see, because before we can even hope to have strawberries or meat, we have to make sure that we're not going to be someone else's meat first. You know, I have to look for danger first, because from an evolutionary point of view, the brains that could look for danger first are the ones that stayed alive. So Diane says, good looking caveman. Thank you, Diane. So the negativity, or woman, yes. Janice, trouble at the border is low energy, showing me I'm thinking too much of the outcome rather than the process of creating my goal. Well, it could be that, or it could be that your brain starts to look for anything that could go wrong. Because the theory being that, let's say if I'm a monkey in a tree and there are no bananas in this tree, okay? It's my monkey mind will say, I know that there's a tree there that may have more bananas, but I don't know if I want to leave the safety of this tree, even if there are not many bananas on it right now, because something bad could happen. Okay? So looking at it as the negativity bias, it's important. And looking at monkey mind even closer, we see that it's normal, it's natural, it's inevitable. Normal being, it is the norm that you and I will experience this at Trouble at the Border. Natural meaning we do not have to be taught to do it. And inevitable means I have yet, in my 35 years of doing this work, thousands of people, I have yet to meet someone who does not have a negativity bias.
Or who has transcended it, or made it go away, or be rid of their...
Yeah, if anything, people learn how to recognize it and keep going. Medicating it doesn't work. You know, George Burns, that famous comedian here in the U.S., he died when he was 99 years old. They interviewed him and they said, what was it like for you to go out on the stage? And now he's 93 when they're interviewing him. He says, you know, my stomach gets upset. I want to vomit every time I'm about to go up on the stage. He says, but I go anyway. And as I turn my attention toward the audience, the nausea goes away. But you see, it's there. And the question becomes, how can I recognize it so I can, in recognizing it and learning to observe it, I can then create a gap so I can shift to something else. So we're going to be looking at right now some examples of monkey mind symptoms. And look at what they are. We have twice as many. And where I got this was from my work with people, originally having to do with their relationship with money. My book, The Energy of Money, which eventually got me on the Oprah show, one of the things that I noticed and I talked about in the book is how people felt terrible when looking at their relationship with money. And so I saw monkey mind symptoms coming up over and over and over again, and I began to write them down and eventually came up with about 24 of them. We have 10 of the best ones right here.
And don't worry about writing these down. Again, we're going to send out that feedback form, and everyone who fills it out within 4 hours will get all the slides and everything. So it's just our way of learning from y'all how this training went for you.
So which ones are familiar for you?
Yeah.
Shauna's saying within 4 hours of 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, within 4 hours of 8 p.m.
Yep,
And
you'll have the...
yeah.
You'll have the full monkey mind symptoms checklist.
You will
as
have
well.
the full one, but right
The
now,
full
look for yourself. Which ones do you tend to do?
one. How about we do this in the form of reflection?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the list here, and we're going to have each of you write down which monkey mind symptoms, when you're trouble at the border, which monkey mind symptoms do you demonstrate? Now you might hear your mind say all of them or none of them. That would be number one, being vague.
Be vague. So which are some of your favorites? Write some of them down here in the chat space. You guys are doing it. This is fabulous. I just love it that you're doing this. Scarcity thoughts, either or thinking, resignation. Oh, bother, like Eeyore. Don't do it. I'm so thrilled that you all are doing this. Really, this takes a bit of courage just to turn and see what they are. Scarcity thoughts are a big one. Sharmista says, scarcity thoughts, getting defensive, either or thinking, exclusive. I know when I'm doing defensive, when I'll say to you, I am not being defensive. So, and for me, the being a victim or a martyr, it's like I have Velcro on my, here on my wrist and Velcro on my forehead. And it's like, you go out and you have fun. I'll just stay here and work hard, Madam Martyr.
One of my favorites is being vague, and I can sense it when I'm doing it. When I'm right in the middle of it, I will just, you can't really land on anything. Let's talk about that later. I'm sure we'll figure something out. And it's just
maybe
kind of, sort of, I hope. It's no good. It doesn't move anything forward.
No, it doesn't. But see, listen, let's just tell the truth about what they are, because you see, they never go away. What we learn how to do is recognize them. And in the moment of recognition, with some compassion, you can see that when you're experiencing monkey mind, now this is a secret here, when you're experiencing monkey mind, it could be a sign that you're doing something right, not something wrong. When you're experiencing monkey mind, it could be that you are at the leading edge of your development. You're expanding to do something that you hadn't done before. And it's just that part of the brain that's warning you away from leaving the cave. But you see, when you see that, you will see that it's there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your goals. There's nothing wrong with your dreams. That we can expect to have some of this negativity bias given the brain that we've been given. Would that be okay with you to discover? Really, would that be okay to discover? Because I say if it would be, it's going to take a lot of energy away from this whole negativity bias thing. It's normal, natural, inevitable. So
let's go through these other two questions so we can
good.
this a little more closely. So
how does it sound to you when you demonstrate these symptoms?
Yeah. So you've got the system
Either way,
that
whatever's faster.
What did you say? Someone's talking?
Someone was just unmuted on accident, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Tangential.
And so really, how does it sound when you demonstrate these symptoms? What's the energy like for you?
If you're willing to, go ahead and take yourself off mute and share, what is the benefit of the group? What does the internal dialogue sound like?
Sunshine says, I can view it as a road sign on my path toward my goals. Yep. Xander, I've learned to welcome these signs as indications that I'm challenging myself to move forward in ways that my spirit is excited about as I push against false fears. Very good. Anybody else? Oh, this is great. Jonathan Moon, my energy is tight. I feel trapped. Yes, you are not trapped. You feel trapped. So what we're asking you to do is to just get into what's the energy like for you.
Yep.
Suzanne, so depressed, almost unable to act. I feel trapped. I get spastic. When I'm in these symptoms, then I beat myself up about not being on top of things. Listen, join the crowd, everybody, okay? It makes my chest feel heavy with stress and anxiety. Sunshine, it says, Joy is saying draggy and stopped. Sharmesta says, I feel heavy and tired and depressed. Suzanne, total self-loathing. Mallory, scared I'll be reprimanded by some imaginary authority figure. Now listen, everybody. Congratulations for simply looking and seeing and telling the truth. What we ask of you is to have some compassion for what it is to be a human being with goals and dreams, and also a monkey mind that's capable of this evolutionary negativity bias. You are not alone. And if you really see this clearly, it can give you a sense of relief. Because I don't know anyone that I've interviewed in my years and years of work with people, I don't know of anyone that hasn't had monkey mind. They all talk about it. And when they do, they kind of breathe a sigh of relief, because it's not a sign that there's anything wrong with you. It's a sign that you are growing, that you're moving on to the next level. So what we're going to be talking about now, Xander says, compassion is a word that a lot of people use without knowing how to actually do it. Absolutely. And, the question becomes, what is compassion for me? How might I see myself with a sense of spaciousness, with a sense that all is well? One actor actually said, the day you stop having butterflies in your stomach before going on stage, stop going on stage. That's amazing. Kristen, I have thought this means the direction is not right for me and therefore didn't move forward. There you go. Well, want to tell you, it's most probably that the direction is okay, that you're meant to be going forward. And in a little while, I'll tell you the difference between your monkey mind and your voice of wisdom. So it's like a little secret that we have here, how to recognize it. So we're going to be looking at the key to resilience. That is to say, how to bounce back when you're experiencing monkey mind at the border. All right? How do you bounce back? One of the things is first to get to know what is important to you. So what does have core meaning? And what we're going to be doing with you right now is something called your life's intention. And your life's intention is a powerful tool for seeing what's important. It's an underlying direction, aim, or purpose that brings meaning to your life. I developed this life's intention after interviewing about 5,000 people over a period of about 6 years. And I would ask them, what is it that's important to you? What do you want to be known for? What is the contribution you want to make? And I was able to put together something called the Life's Intentions Inventory. And so here it is. So what we're going to have you do with this, because we want you to participate here, we want you to pick one life's intention that scores a 5 for you.
5 being very important, 1 being relatively unimportant right now. This doesn't need to be what used to be important, what might be important in the future, but right here and now.
My life's intentions are to be financially successful, physically fit and healthy, a contributor to my community, a visionary leader, a loving family member, a generous friend, spiritually developing, an effective manager, an effective teacher, well educated, an effective coach, an effective change agent, an effective healer, well traveled, an effective mentor, a successful entrepreneur. So pick one for you. Very good. Sharmista says spiritually developing. Kimberly, spiritually developing. Great. Sunshine. Very good. An effective mentor. Jonathan Moon, a successful artist. Oh, great. Phoenix.
Yeah, Xander, you got it. Pick one that scores a 5 for you right now for the purpose of this activity, and you can absolutely have more than one that scores a 5.
Yeah. You can have all that you want. Sunshine. Joy is financially successful. Michelle, a contributor to my community. Shauna, a successful change agent. Spiritually developing. It's great. Amy Z, an entrepreneur. Janice Carey, an effective mentor. Joseph Ranseth, physically fit and healthy. This is great. Miriam Hyman, financially successful. Xander, financially successful. Kristen, an effective change agent. And another Kristen, a generous-hearted friend. Sarah, effective change agent while staying physically fit and healthy. It's so great. Mallory, an effective mentor. Wonderful. So what is your, oh, here we go, Diane. I'm with Sarah. So what is your energy as you look at this? What is your energy like as you talk or think about it? Just focusing on the one that's important. Mallory, overwhelmed. That's interesting. Lafinitz, strength from the heart. Mallory, which one did you put down for you? So let me know.
Mallory, do you want to just come off mute and we can?
Yeah, Xander Center.
Sure. Hi.
So which one? Which one did you pick?
I picked an effective mentor, but I think I'd like to change to an effective change agent through mentorship.
So, yeah, just pick one.
Just to make it complicated.
I know,
Okay,
just to pick one.
Let's go with mentor.
Very good. And so you see, as you simplify, you'll feel less overwhelmed. So this is good.
Mm-hmm. But okay, I'm sorry, I'm being difficult, but I think if I really think about it, the whole reason that I function as a mentor at all is to act as a change agent. So and that's the overwhelming part, I think, to me, is that change agent, that's a vague statement within itself, right? I mean, there's a lot there.
Well, let's do it. Let's do this, okay? If you were to just pick one that is just a 5 for you and is uncomplicated and is just simply there and it might warm your heart and nourish your spirit, what might it be? Just give yourself to one of these, any one of them on the list. What would it be for you?
Something other than what I said?
Well, I'm just saying that because what is important to do with this list is to feel a certain energy possibly around your heart rather than thinking about it conceptually.
Mm-hmm. I think a contributor to my community.
There you go. There you go. Because that's really what's important to you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to choose.
Yeah, but don't worry about that you're negating any of the other ones. Just picking one. What would it be for you?
Yeah.
Contributor to
Yeah, community. Uh, I mean, I think change agent is more important to me than any of them.
Yes, but I'm not asking like important. It's more like it's the one you love. It's the one you love.
Ah, okay.
Which is the one you love? Hmm?
Maybe a loving family member. That one
Mm-hmm.
comes easy.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Pick the easy one.
And we'll let you have all the other ones too.
Oh, absolutely. Just pick the easy one right now.
Right.
And notice whether or not monkey mind is saying, yeah, but you have to have the harder one, because it has to really mean something super. And I mean, just pick the easy one, just a sweet one for yourself. Folks, but what part of what we're asking you to do is give yourself some sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's great. Diane Silva is saying, I'm changing mine to a loving family member. See? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. So you see, just the one that warms your heart. One that doesn't.
Are you still asking me?
No, I'm actually filling in for everybody because it's clear what a contribution you're making, Mallory, because people are actually changing theirs now out of what they heard you doing. And Kristen, I'm changing mine to a contributor to my community. Listen, this is great. This is part of the discernment. The discernment of seeing what is truly important to you, that is meaningful for you. And one of the secrets is that it's something that you really love. Ah, Sarah, well traveled. Mm-hmm. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. Janice, to me, an effective mentor is being an effective minister and coach to model a way of life. Very good. And once again, just keeping them really simple. Part of resilience, folks, is to learn to simplify our thought process. Sometimes when we have so many competing concepts in our head, when we have so many different conceptual ways of doing things and thinking about things, that's what gives our mind a sense of being crowded. And part of what we're doing with you today has to do with simplifying, just cooling the engine down a little bit, because that is one of the first steps in resilience. How do I learn to cool my brain down a little bit by finding what's really important to me? Not what I think should be important or what I have to have important, but, allowing me to cross the border with ease. And we're going to be talking about that in a moment. Yeah, this is good. Very, very good, everybody. So just giving yourself some sweetness here. And thanks for letting Jeremy and me coach you. Anything else you want to say about this, Jeremy, before we move on here?
Well, to add to this point about picking one that you love, and one that's easy, you might be asking yourself, why do that right now? To which I would say, start where it's easy so that you can do push-ups with it and build the skill set, because we're presenting something that might be new to you, or you might be seeing it at a new level. And when you pick one that is a little bit easier, kind of flies under monkey mind's radar, just like, oh, loving family member for you, Mallory. It's like, yeah, I just love that one. And then you can take what we're giving you, and that clarity and that spaciousness can then perhaps infuse itself into the other ones.
So Xander says, interesting to hear you talk about cooling down the brain, as it is regarded as part of water cool element in Oriental medicine. Yes, and neurophysiologically, one of my degrees is in clinical psychology from UCLA, and one of my specialties was in neurophysiology. One of the things that we find from a neurophysiological point of view is that there are certain brain centers which, when they get lit up, so to speak, tend to hijack our brain's ability to think creatively. And one of those structures is called the amygdala. And the amygdala is Greek for the word almond shaped. And curiously enough, the amygdala is almond shaped. It's the seat of fight, flight, or freeze. And it's the seat, many people think, of the negativity response. And when it's lit up, it's very, very hard to think creatively. I mean, look at this experientially. You don't have to take my word for it or Jeremy's word for it. Isn't it hard to think of a creative solution when you're tense and stressed out? Isn't it difficult to be creative? Don't you see that part of being creative is learning how to cool down this center, fight, flight, or freeze, that's always worried about what could go wrong and where the next trouble is, and literally hijacking the brain's ability to be creative. Janice, I know sometimes I can get on a roll and say what is the next thing to do rather than delving deeper into what it is that is important to me. Yep. And that can tire us out. You and I have creative energy. And the question is, are we going to squander it and waste it? Or are we going to use it, savor it, use it in the most appropriate way? So, Kimberly, what are some of our best practices for cooling the amygdala? We're talking to you about it right now.
You're like a plant. You gave us the perfect segue.
Oh, I love it. Yes, exactly. So, so here we go, and we're going to show you how to cross the border with ease. The 5 practices of resilience. Okay. Practice number 1 is being willing. Now, most wisdom traditions talk about an aspect that we embody that is capable of saying yes to our lives, saying yes instead of running away from our life. So being willing is that capacity to say yes no matter what your monkey mind is saying. And Dag Hammarskjöld, who was the second Secretary General of the United Nations, he was Swedish, and he was very spiritually developed, and he had so many beautiful phrases. And one that really stuck for me was this one: "For all that has been, thank you." Now he's saying, for everything that has been in my life, everything, not for some things, not for a few of things, but for all that has been, thank you. For all that is yet to come, yes. Another way of saying it: for all that has been, I say thank you. And for all that is yet to be, I say yes. So being willing is your capacity to say yes. You may not want to do something. You may not think you can do something. And nevertheless, be willing. So, what do you notice about the power of being willing?
And let's try and experiment with this so we can really get it experientially.
Oh, yes, I love it.
Josh, can you unmute everybody? I'm going to unmute you folks. So say this out loud. I am financially successful.
I am financially successful.
I'm financially successful.
I am financially
Now say this. I am willing to be financially successful.
I am willing.
I am willing to be financially successful.
Financially successful.
So and so we want to show this to you once again. So we'll go around it yet again. So say, I am financially successful. Say it again.
I am financially successful.
What does your brain say? Yeah, what does your brain say? Say, I am financially successful. What is your brain saying right now? Come on, tell the truth.
I'm a liar.
There you go. There you go. Now, say, I am willing to be financially successful.
I am willing to be financially successful.
Financially successful.
What does your monkey mind say?
Yes.
Sure.
You hear it? It's silent.
Let's do it.
Exactly. If you'll notice, when you say, I am willing to be, the mind gets quiet. You may not think you can. You may not want to do something. You may not think you can. And nevertheless, be willing. As a matter of fact, the people who we consider to be heroes in our life, so think about anyone in your own life who you've considered to be an inspirational hero. I don't care who it is, but just think of it and think, is there something about them, a time when you noticed that they may have said, I am willing to go ahead. And at that moment, you saw the true heart, the true heroism of that person, that in that moment, you became inspired by them. I mean, spiritual practices are replete with examples of heroes saying, please take this cup from me. Do I really have to do this? And then turning around afterwards and saying, nevertheless, yes. Nevertheless means with all that, with everything, yes. So this is your reflection, folks. What would it be like for me to consistently tap into my power of being willing? As Sunshine is saying, beyond the doubt, what would it be like? The Phoenix, I would move swiftly. Amy, freeing. Kimberly, how powerful yes feels. Kristen, infinite possibilities. Keep looking, everyone. And thank you for being willing, and Xander saying in 12-step programs, willingness is one of the 3 primary principles required for recovery. Absolutely. So you see, we know in spiritual traditions, for example, that being willing is one of the first steps on our path. Good. Joyful says, Diane, joyful to indulge in curiosity rather than fear. Mallory, I think I do this too often until I am overextended. Well, ask yourself, are you saying I am willing, or is it I want to do this? Michelle says, I would do things that might seem scary. Yeah. Sunshine says, Joy says freedom from constraint versus constraint. Kristen, but devil's advocate, I'm willing a lot and get spread thin. So what's the difference here? Well, you see, are you willing to learn how to not get spread so thin? See, I am willing calls upon us, in many cases, to exercise a skill set that is outside of the ordinary for us, extraordinary. Kimberly, yet I'm willing does not necessarily mean I will. No, it doesn't. I am willing. Suzanne, freedom from resistance. Sharmistha, I feel lighter and freer. Kristen, able to breathe with ease, less stress. Xander, the other two are honesty and open-mindedness. Willingness, honestly, and open-mindedness. So what would it be like for me to say, I don't know necessarily how to cool my engine down. I don't even think I can. And nevertheless, I'm willing. Sunshine, Maria, what is the difference between I am willing versus I'm on my way to becoming? I am willing is just more direct. Boom. It drops quickly, like one drop of water into a pool instead of multiple drops. Janice, the phrasing of words are so very powerful. Nevertheless, I'm willing to continue. Yes, nevertheless really means with all that up until now, with everything that's happened up until now, notwithstanding, not taking away anything. Nevertheless, I am willing. I am willing, for us is to exercise a skill set that is extraordinary. Yeah, thank you, Xander. So the phrasing of words are so very powerful. Nevertheless, I'm willing to continue. See, you have the power to be willing. And when you and I exercise that power, that's when we are on the road to resilience. I don't know resilience skills. I don't even think I can be resilient, and nevertheless I'm willing. I'm willing. Now, anything else on this, Jeremy, before we go on to practice number 2?
No, I think number 2 is going to dovetail really nicely into this.
Okay, perfect.
Number 2 is about shifting your attention. And there's a lot of power in this, because shifting your attention frees us up from needing to make monkey mind go away. Like that we need to ignore it, we don't need to argue with it, we don't need to wait until monkey mind goes away. But there is this power that we have, this capacity we have to shift our attention. Almost like we're in a noisy room, and just like if you're at a party or something, you can be listening over here, and you can choose like, oh, I want to tune in over here and listen over here. It doesn't mean that the noise over here goes away, but we direct our attention in a particular manner.
And so this is how it looks. Practice number 2, shift your attention. So recognize when you're dancing with monkey mind. How do you know when you're dancing with monkey mind? Well, we're going to give you the monkey mind symptoms checklist, and I suggest you familiarize yourself with it. Why? Because it will open up your eyes. The minute you see something, okay, if you see it, you don't have to be it. The minute you observe something, you are not that which you are observing. I know this is kind of complicated. I hope I'm saying this simply enough, because the minute I observe something, I'm creating an observational gap between who I am and that which I am observing, which is why we want you to observe when you're dancing with monkey mind. And incidentally, the energy with monkey mind is constricted. There's a sense of you've got to do this right here and right now. Something bad is going to happen to you if you don't do it, and something terrible is going to go wrong. And many people say they feel monkey mind in their heads, versus, incidentally, something called your voice of wisdom, which also gets activated when you begin to focus on your life's intention. For example, your voice of wisdom is that small, sweet voice that some people say they hear in their heart. There's a sense of spaciousness. All is well. There is sometimes a little bit of humor that goes along with it. So when your energy is constricted, when you notice that your body is getting tense, one of the best things you can do is go to the monkey mind symptom checklist and say, which one am I dancing with right now? And you acknowledge it with compassion. Why? Because it's inevitable, normal, and natural. Then read one of your life's intentions out loud, starting with, I am willing to be. So, for example, I might have an oral exam as a coach. And right before the oral exam, to test whether or not I'm a good coach, and this is what happened for me, I could tell myself, I could see I was panicking, like, am I going to do a good job? I'm going to say something wrong. They're going to find out that I'm a fake, I'm a phony, I'm a fraud. I don't suppose any of you have ever thought you were fakes or phony or fraud. But there it was for me. And just to observe, I'm tensing up, and then to see which one of the symptoms am I dancing with. And then I remember right when I was, as I observed it, I had a breath of fresh air, like, oh, there I go, scarcity thoughts. And then I could shift the focus of my attention to something that was more important to me. I'm willing to be a masterful coach. And the minute I shifted the focus of my attention, my energy calmed down, and I was able to think more clearly. And I passed my oral exam. It's amazing how this stuff works, because with my active monkey mind, and listen, I've been around the block a few times in my lifetime. I've always thought maybe monkey mind will go away, and it doesn't. It doesn't go away. It's a sign that you are pushing against your next learning edge. So to recognize it, acknowledge it with compassion, reading one of my life's intentions calms you down. So let's show them this this great example here.
So and this is another way of looking at the same thing we just were describing, but you can kind of pin it with everything we've talked about so far. That when this thought bubble is like a crowded room where all of the monkey mind thoughts are happening, if we choose to put our attention on them. And when we put our attention on them, as you all have described with such beautiful words, the energy is kind of sucked out of the space. And that's where we either may choose to tune out or burn out. And then it's not so great. It's not very satisfying. Whereas even amidst all those conversations, if we shift the focus of our attention to one of our life's intentions, like, I'm willing to be a contributor to my community, the result is resilience, and the result is fulfilled. And I think we can all sort of call up examples in our own mind of when we've experienced that kind of satisfaction, that kind of fulfillment.
What do you notice as you see us giving you this practice of shifting your attention? What are you noticing, people? Looking at the question in particular, what would it be like for me to energize my life's intentions rather than my voice of worry? What would it be like for me? Kristen says a softening, The Phoenix, I already feel better. Xander, this is really, really difficult for people, for me, to do when we're in the midst of challenges that have great momentum. I know. You know, it's kind of the good news and the bad news. You know, the good news is that you can be brilliant and you know, just have a brilliant mind. And the bad news is that you have a brilliant mind, because with a brilliant mind, it's like quite a wild horse to corral, you know. But see, look at it. What would it be like for me to energize my life's intentions rather than my voice of wisdom? You know, and Sunshine says, Joy says freedom and space. The Phoenix, it would be amazing. I love that Sarah says it, I would be weirder than I already am. I love it. Join the weird ones, okay? Janice, focus on what I want, not on what I don't want. Exactly. Diane Silver, soothing to my heart and soul. Sharmista says, feel calmer and more grounded. It feels empowering to think that whatever comes, I accept, acknowledge, and shift my attention to what I love. There you go. That's the whole, you've got it right there. That's the bottom line. Whatever comes, I accept, acknowledge, and shift my attention to what I love. That's it. Well said. You know, it's so inspiring for me to hear all of you, and I think it's the same, Jeremy, it's the same with you, just to hear people, you know, sharing what you have to share. I want to thank you all. Oh dear, I see Miriam holding up this cute baby. Oh, Miriam is a grandmother in love. I can see. Oh, grandmother in love. Sunshine, according to an old Oxford dictionary, weird means someone who carves his, her own path. Whoa! So, Diane, soothing to my heart and soul. Kristen and I would spend more time actualizing my dreams. Yep. It's just the best. And Sarah says, gracias, Sunshine. Yes. So, we're going to give you another practice. We have 5 practices here. Number 1 in this next practice. Yeah, Suzanne, I'd save a lot on monkey food. Yep. Xander, weird also means of or having to do with the supernatural. There you go. So, practice 3 is take a small, sweet step. Success is nearly always the result of small, sweet steps. It is, folks. In my coaching people over the years, I've seen that we can take one of 2 kinds of action. One is promising something huge and then running up against our trouble at the border, or taking small, sweet steps as we approach the border, slipping under the monkey mind radar. I'll give you another example. You know, the reason that people die if they jump off of a high bridge into some water, the reason people die is not because they drown. It's because jumping off of a high bridge, by the time you hit the water, you're going with such velocity that the water is actually concrete. That's why people die. They get smashed against the water. Now, another way of entering water is to take small, sweet steps. And as you enter water in that way, obviously, there's not much pushback from the water. So the question becomes, am I going to spend my energy in life smashing myself up against my trouble at the border, listening to my monkey mind, becoming very righteous about how it's time for me to quit because I've worked so hard? Or am I willing to be willing, shift the focus of my attention, then take some small, sweet steps as I go through my trouble at the border with ease. Example, I coach a lot of people who write books. And one of the things I've found is that if an author promises to write even 8 or 10 pages a day on a book, we will almost always fail. Why? Because that's a heck of a lot to write, especially when you're at the border. I remember coaching someone who insisted that he wanted to write 10 pages a day. And I said, Sydney, listen, you do it, no worries, but I tell you, it's going to be hard. He called me within 3 days. He said, Maria, can't do it. You know, it's like, how about if I start with 1 page a day? He did. He started with 1 page a day. After a week, he went to 2 pages a day. After 3 weeks, he went to 3 pages a day because, listen to this. You want to hear something? 3 pages a day are 3 books a year. I'll say it again. 3 pages a day are 3 books a year. It's just like another thing. If you practice a spiritual practice for 10 minutes a day, are you with me? 10 minutes of spiritual practice a day equals 60 hours at the end of a year. You know, it's like taking a course in existential psychology. If you were to do it 10 minutes a day, at the end of a year, it's taking a university course. So, Jim says, small wins build momentum. Momentum builds big wins. And Sunshine says, thank you, Jim. And Sharmista says, I find it so important to take small steps, then congratulate myself and take rest. Deep rest is so essential for my creativity. Yep. And Jonathan says, preach it. I love you, Jonathan. This is great, everybody. Listen, I just love all of you. This is so great. And you build momentum by taking small steps, believe it or not. That's how you start building momentum. You can't build momentum after you've exhausted yourself at the border. It just ain't going to work. You're going to be overworked, overwhelmed. You ain't going to be resilient. No. So please look at this. And what is one small, sweet thing I'm willing to do to demonstrate my life's intention within the next 7 days? And you don't have to put it here in the chat space unless you want to. But regarding the life's intention you picked, what is one small, sweet step? Lafina, dance my heart out tonight. There you go. Who else? Anybody? You know, that is something that you may or may not put into the chat box, but you know, what is it that you might do within the next 7 days? Josh, I will write 1 line of the song I'm working on by Saturday. Huh. Kimberly, clearing out physical stuff 10 minutes a day. Beautiful. Amy, sell my big house. Quit my job and move to the mountains. Is that small enough? I don't know. That's Thank you for sharing so much, Amy. Sunshine, I will generate a list of 10 organizations I will approach to give an orientation and book at least 1 engagement. There you go. Diane Silva, schedule a business planning meeting with Craig. Great. Miriam, write 1 paragraph on the results I deliver for my website. You do that, Miriam. You are a brilliant coach, my dear. Sharmista, I'll keep my focus on my life's intention by reminding myself I'm willing to be loving and generous. Good. Sarah says, anybody need a donation? Kristen, start spending 10 minutes a day in meditation. There you go. 10 minutes a day, 60 hours a year. Shauna, change agent, write a short response to the very long and technical email that will help my changemaker group meet its needs. There you go. Xander, Sarah, I'll take the donation. Sunshine says, Sarah will take it. You guys are so funny. How about you, Amy Z? Anything that you see for yourself, my dear? Just anything. Jonathan Moon, something?
I went off
Just
field.
anything.
Ironically, in the next week, I'm buying a house so I can quit my job. Within 7 days, I'm closing on the mountain house.
Oh,
So
Oh,
there's
really?
I seriously, within 7 days, I'm closing on the Mountain House so I can give notice. So I can,
Oh,
and
that's great.
my personal intention is to become an entrepreneur.
Oh, great.
So it's
There you
happening.
go. Good for you. Good for you.
Hmm.
We're going to go on to practice number 4. Remember, we said there are 5 practices. So practice number 4, get support. Get support. Jonathan says, I'm willing to learn the whole aria. I'd love to hear you sing, Jonathan. So practice 4 is get support. Support is a gift you give to others because you allow them the opportunity to empower your success. I mean, look, when someone asks you for your support and you give it and they take it and they say to you, thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have made this goal. How does that make you feel? When someone asks you for support, how does it make you feel? Seriously, this, it makes you
Honored.
feel honored. Absolutely. Needed, useful.
Yep.
And that's what you can give people. Trusted. Yes. Valuable. Loved. I tell you, that's one of the biggest keys to resilience. People who are resilient are willing to ask for and then make use of support. And you and I, we're so used to supporting others. The question is, am I willing? Who in my life am I willing to give the privilege of supporting me? I may not know how, I may not think I can, but who am I willing to give the privilege of supporting me? I'm
I
going
know
to ask for the support. I'm going to take it in. Yes, please, Jeremy.
for me, I've speaking of entrepreneurship, I've had 2 entrepreneurial ventures in my life. The first one was working on a software startup for community organizers, and the second one was my coaching practice. And the biggest difference I noticed when I started my coaching practice was the amount of support I had. When I started the software one, which was the first venture, I was pretty much doing it alone. I didn't have any mentors who'd done this before. I didn't have any peers who were doing it alongside me. I didn't have anyone really cheering me on or anyone I could check in with. I would just spend weekends in my room trying to figure it out and read books. And I was not calling in much support. When I started my coaching practice, I had a coach. I had mentors who had done this for a long time. And I had a bunch of other coaches who I was in the training program with, who I was learning alongside with. And it was amazing how much easier it was. Incredibly easier. I would save myself from reinventing the wheel. When I hit trouble at the border, I could call on support so that I didn't go down the monkey mind spiral and just, sit there for a couple days before taking any action. It just sort of guarantees resilience in a certain way.
It really does. And Sarah says, one thing I encountered was an ask for support, but it wasn't specific enough for them to say yes or no. Okay. La Phoenix, I'm willing to give my friend Yanessa the gift of supporting me and my coach Jenny by sending her weekly check-ins. And Jonathan says, yes, Jeremy, you preach it too. So, am I willing to give someone the privilege of asking for support from them? The privilege of supporting me. Would that be okay with me? So an example of an ask would be helpful. I'll give you an example. I have a check-in buddy, and we call each other ever so often, and we make promises, and then we check in to see whether or not we've done them. And 3 days ago, I had a promise to write a series of 7 emails to some people who were interested in a program that I was doing. And I was at the border. I really was. It's like, how am I going to say this accurately and simply and let them know what it's like to be in a mastermind with me and what we're going to be doing together. And it was so good to have this person's support, because every day she would say, okay, Maria, how many emails have you written today? And I would do 2 a day. And so it took me 3 days. The last day I did 3 of them. And there I was, I did it. Because I gave her permission to ask me, how are you doing with your emails? And then I would promise, I'd make a promise, not a huge one. I made it and I kept it. And I finished this morning and felt so great, so great. And I know my buddy feels great too, because I told her, I said, if it weren't for you, I would have exhausted myself doing this. This is a brand new program that I'm doing with some folks. So asking for someone to check up on you to see whether or not you're doing what you promised. Are you taking the small, sweet step that you promised you would take? That's support. Does that help, folks? Just be very, very specific. So, good. You're welcome.
So we've heard from a couple folks in chat.
Now,
Let's, if you're seeing one after that example, kind of looking for yourself, who might I be willing to have support me? Share it with us. Share what you're seeing.
very good, very good.
And as we do that, we can go on to the next practice.
Yeah, please. And Josh, you just sent me a message, and I'd love to know what you mean by that, because give me some support here, sir.
You guys are doing great. Go on to the last section in about 5 minutes.
Okay. Can we do the practice number 5 now? Is that okay?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, great. Thanks. Support. So practice number 5, and here it is, folks. This is, I say, this is the best part, and this is where resilience takes hold. Acknowledge the smallest result. Acknowledge the smallest result. And I'll tell you why. Because many people have said, I remember hearing one fellow say it in this particular way, that our brain is like Velcro for negative experiences. And Velcro, sticks together. So our brain is like Velcro when it comes to negative experiences, and Teflon when it comes to positive experiences, meaning positive experiences slip away from us. So the practice of acknowledging the smallest results has to do with building in resilience by teaching your brain to focus on what's working rather than what's not working. Because you know how it is, we have these small victories, sometimes large ones, and the very next thing we start thinking about is, okay, now what else do I have to do? And almost automatically the brain starts looking for what isn't working. So acknowledging the smallest result is perfect as step number 5, because this is the capper. You're teaching your brain to look for what's working rather than what isn't working. Okay. Let's see. Oh, good. Kimberly, I love the practice of a check-in buddy. Think of who to invite. It takes the willingness to be vulnerable to ask for support. Yep. Sharmita, I'm willing to take support from my parents, my friends, my coaches, and also from nature and from food, all the beautiful things in life. And Sarah says, me too, Sharmita. And Mallory says, yes, man, I do that? Meaning, do I go from the smallest wins to what isn't working? You know, Mallory, keep moving on without acknowledging accomplishments. That is exactly. Well, Phoenix, I'm willing to acknowledge all the cleaning I did today. Good, savor it, appreciate it, appreciate it. That is, this acknowledgement of the smallest results, folks, is one of the most powerful practices in resilience. So, am I, what small step am I willing to acknowledge having already taken? And Mallory says, go. La Phoenix, go. And my question to you, in addition to this, is the following. Are you willing to practice acknowledging your smallest results? Are you willing, folks? Really, look and see. Are you willing? Would it be okay with you? This is not, incidentally, this is not a rhetorical question. It's a real question. Are you willing to acknowledge the small results that you do in your lifetime and in everyday life? Are you willing even to find something tomorrow to acknowledge? Something even maybe today to acknowledge. But this is a very, very important practice. Kimberly, how about you? Kristen, how about you? How about you, Sarah Thompson? Sharmista. Kimberly says, yes, I will find something every day. Sharmista says, yes, I'm willing. Jonathan, deep breath, yes. Shauna, yes. La Phoenix. Sunshine, to shift my focus, what is yet to be done to what I did. Wow, a muscle that needs some exercise. And David Bronstein says, yes, coach. Kristen, yes, I'm willing to acknowledge the small steps I'm taking, but I think sometimes my positivity and excitement for life annoys others. I don't think so. I'm sorry, Kristen. I don't think that's what annoys others. And I don't even think you annoy others, but that's just my thought here. I just don't even think you do. La Phoenix, yes. Kimberly, today completing tasks in town. Suzanne, yes, I'm willing. Very good. And Sharmista says, yes, I'm willing. This is wonderful, isn't it? I mean, really, you all are the best. Sarah says, oh, yes, every day I survive as a young woman of color in the U.S. is a victory. There you go. There you go. So let me ask you something, or a gay couple, absolutely. Let me ask you something. What do you notice about this group? What do you notice right now about this group? Amazing. It's an amazing group. Who else? What do you notice? I mean, we've only been together an hour and 40 minutes. What do you see?
Diversity.
Mm-hmm. Diversity feels open and light. We are so powerful, lovely souls. The group feels engaged and gentle and willing. Do you see it? Sarah, we are literate, have some access. Sunshine, fellow heroes. Amy, share personal things. Kristen, they are here because they strive to be better tomorrow than they are today. Jonathan says a contribution. Isn't that true? Janice, willing to play larger. Diane, I'm sensing a lot of enthusiasm. Who else? Just check in right now, just for a moment, to this group. We've all been together here for about an hour and 41 minutes. What do you see? You see how willing everyone is. Sunshine, joy, open, talented, and willing. Patrick, willingness. There you go. Willing to play larger, Janice says. Sharmista, I'm sensing togetherness. Yep. Kimberly says honesty. Lori, spaciousness and acceptance. Just the reason I'm asking that is if yes, Sarah says willing, if we do nothing else right now, sunshine, major shakers and movers. Michelle, present. Sharmita, also more in the present moment, softer and kinder. Suzanne, synchronized heart intention. If we do nothing in this moment, if we do nothing else, what's it like to just acknowledge the people on this call together? The open-hearted responses that people are given. And just to see it in the moment. You know, I know we all lead such busy lives, incredibly busy lives. I do, you do. But just in this moment, before we go on to anything else, but just in this moment to acknowledge what we're finding in this group and appreciate it, savor it. Sunshine, being at home where all is well. Patrick says feels supportive. Jonathan, vulnerability and courage. Amy, psychological safety immediately is rare and feels good. It does. Mallory, feels good to know other people are trying for the same things I am trying for. There you go.
Yep, that's a
The
big
whole
one.
bottom line. That's the whole bottom line. You know, that's why we do this work. And so, going on, but I just wanted us to stop and acknowledge, just to stop and acknowledge. And now we can go on a little bit. And Sunshine, Kimberly feels connected. We are producing oxytocin together, feel good hormone. Yeah, we're producing it without being in the presence of it. Isn't that interesting? Sunshine, joy, sense of generous community. Now, so these are the steps, you know. Look at these practices at least one time a day for the next week. Allow them to begin to alter how you view yourself and your concept of success. We're going to send you these slides so you can copy the 5 practices down your leisure. And focus frequently on practice number 3. What is one small, sweet step you are willing to do to demonstrate one life's intention within the next 7 days? You know, just all of what we're showing you are the 5 practices that lead to resilience. So we have a coaching call, and talk about this a little bit, Jeremy, so that people understand what we're talking about here.
So we'll have, first of all, we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A at the very end of this call, but we know that we gave you a lot of stuff, and we also know that the most important thing you can do with the information and the skills and the practices we're giving you here is go practice them. And that once you put them into practice, you might have some questions like, oh, you know, Maria and Jeremy, I heard you talk about using small, sweet steps in this particular way, and then I went out and tried to do it, and I didn't quite see how to put it into practice, or I have some question about it. Or you know, coach me on this. I'd really love to see a way forward, and I don't see a way forward right now in some area of my life. We're going to have a coaching call. 2 hours. Maria and another one of our course leaders, Zoe, will be leading it. And it's on July 6th from 1 to 3 p.m. And we mentioned this earlier in the call, but the way to get access to that is to fill out a brief feedback form that we have that'll be in your inbox as soon as we're done with this call. And we ask that you fill it out in the next 4 hours in order to get the slides and access to this coaching call. And it's just our way of being in conversation with you about, you know, what are your takeaways from this? And if you can't make the coaching call live, no worries. We're going to send you the recording. And you'll be amazed if you've been a part of a coaching group. You'll be amazed at how much you can learn, even if you're not able to be there live, because you'll be able to see yourself in some of the people that are getting coached, and they might even have the same questions as you. So even if you can't join us for that specific time slot, go ahead and fill out the form, and we'll get you the recording.
We would love you to be there. For me, having led these coaching calls, they're some of the most powerful calls I've ever been present to. And we would love you to experience this with us to get even more value. Now, anything else you want to say about the coaching? You know, this is what I want to say about it. Good.
Okay, good.
There was something that was right there. It was good. When we coach you, I want you to know we don't psychotherapize. Okay, we're not going to be analyzed. All right. As I joke around with people, I say, although I'm a clinical psychologist, I won't analyze you. That would be extra. But that really what we're there to do is to continue to give you skills to be resilient, because we take very earnestly your desire to get off that wheel in which you see your energy is diminishing, and that sweet goal or dream that you have seems further and further away. We do not want that for you, because your life is too precious for that. If you're on this call, we can already tell by the level of your sharing that you really are intent upon making a difference in your life, in the lives of people that you love. Now, one of the things that we also want to talk with you about, if you're interested, is something called Mastering Life's Energies. The tagline for it is the Thriving Changemaker Intensive. Now, some of you have taken Mastering Life's Energies, because I can notice some of the graduates here who are on the phone. And we encourage you to look and see whether or not this is something that you would love to do. You know, it's for you if when you see the world as it is and the world as it could be, and you know that you have a calling inside of your heart to bridge the gap, and you know you would love more skills, pretty much at the level that we're giving you right now, because there are so many valuable things that we have to give you that it's hard to do it in a 2-hour stint. But this is a 4-day intensive experience live with me, with Jeremy, with Zoe, and other people at the Academy, where we take very, very good care of you. And our commitment is to give you even more skills that you can use to be incredibly and extraordinarily successful in life. And people have asked, who is this for? And this is for all people from all walks of life. And people who have taken this course are people non-professional, from nonprofit professional, community organizers, civic leaders, mission-driven entrepreneurs. We've had ministers take, coaches, consultants, trainers, educators, just all kinds of people who are students, people who are interested in entering the workforce again after having been gone for so long. Sharmista said, would love to do this course. Please come back to India. Well, I tell you, if you get together a group, we will come. All right. So all you have to do is let us know, because we will come. And all it takes is a certain group of a certain size. Let's see. Sharmista, I'm sad I don't think I'll be able to make this. It is in the middle of the night for me in India. That's the coaching call.
Correct.
And you'll get the recording of it. Okay. Amy says, I highly recommend this course. Not only did it transform my thinking, I use the concepts regularly in my way of thinking with my clients and friends. And Charmissa would love to do this course. It just already said. Miriam says, the best work I have done. And Sharmista says, how big does the group have to be? I'll try to get it together. Well, I'm going to have Jeremy send you personally a way to get a hold of me, Sharmista, and you and I should talk. We should have a call, and I'll talk to you about it. But if this is something that you're interested in at all, for those of you who haven't taken this course, we suggest that you learn more and register if you want. And you'll see at the Academy for Coaching Excellence site the details. We have 2 coming up here in Sacramento, Sacramento 6th through 10th, or October 18th through 22nd. And we have a suggested sliding scale. So this is the thing. We don't want this to be a barrier for you if you're really sincerely interested in doing this work. And so our sliding scale is like the honor system. We ask you to look inside in your heart and see what cost is authentic for you. We don't ask any questions. We just ask you to look and see. We have certain guidelines so you can see it. And you pay the tuition that you can afford to pay. Maybe even bump it up a little bit so it's a little bit of a stretch, but we don't want money considerations to stand in your way. So there is something called an additional 25% early bird discount if you register through July 10th. And it shows you here, you apply your workshop fee tuition and use the promotion code BOUNCE. The other thing you need to know is that we have 100% money back guarantee. And I'll tell you what that means. If you haven't gotten more than your money's worth after 3 out of the 4 days, if you really haven't gotten more than your money's worth, you come to me and we will refund your money, period. No questions asked. All I ask you to do is that you let me and the other course leaders coach you to have true breakthroughs. And after that, if you say to me, Maria, it just didn't fit for me, we return your money. So, because we just want people to get these skills. You know, my vision, I've been doing work with people in general for 50 years. I'm 73 now. And my heart's desire is to have as many people on this planet get these skills that we have to teach as possible. Period. I'd love to see these skills fly into the hands of as many people as possible. So that's my dream. That's my dream. So Diane says, I've done this course twice. My life has forever changed for the best. Because of it, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Oh, thank you, Diane. So anyway, guys, there you have it. And at the very least, please join us for the coaching time together. Next steps. Let's go to the next steps here. Remember to check your email. Fill out our short feedback form within the next 4 hours, please. Everyone who completes this feedback form gets access to all workshop materials, really all of this stuff, and a special group coaching call. And it's going to occur Thursday, July 6th from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific. And if you can't make the time, but you sign up for it, we send you the recording. And you can learn more about the Mastering Life's Energies course this fall by going to acecoachtraining.com/intensive. So, what do you think? Did we do the do, folks? Did we do it?
I think we did the do.
Huh? You all participated at such a great level. It's been my privilege to be with you for these past 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. This has been a real treat. And doing these workshops and getting you all this introduction to these skills that we have been teaching and studying ourselves and deepening our own experience with, it's been my experience that this is really a way, like a path that you can choose to go very deep with if you choose. So you can think of this as you're taking some of your first steps on a path that goes as far as you want to take it. So for those of you who feel called, we're excited to go further down the path with you.
Yeah. And so we're just going to send you a big hug. And thank you for being here. And see if you can join us on that coaching call. What do you say?
And why don't we unmute everyone to kind of send everyone off and close out the call.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, sweethearts.
Have a good night.
Good night, folks.
Bye.